like you said, new manager, always comes new ideas with that, and it's early. So, we're looking at the two regular season games of, just the structure and some of the things we've seen. But Robin obviously is, great experience and success in this league. So, that's a matter of time, even though the results, I guess you could say, haven't been in their favor, although going on the road and getting the point in D.C. was good under the circumstances, and having to play your first 3 games on the road is not easy. So try to focus as much on our group in recovery and preparing them today and tomorrow with some of the differences that we've seen. But there will be no comparing to last year. It's really just the personnel available.
What are the challenges of, because this is the second team with a new coach that you faced? Obviously you've seen these teams before, but with new ideas, how challenging is that early in the season when they're still figuring things out, you're kind of figuring things out?
I would say that the Tigre situation is just so much more unique because it happened, after their last game and leading up to ours. So you saw new things in our matchup, with Robin and Toronto. Now we've seen, you have the preseason to look at, but the 2 regular season games, you've seen consistency in personnel and formation, and that could look different. But you try to prepare the guys with as much information without overcomplicating things and being able to adjust if need be. Again, we're at home. We need to focus on our approach and how we think we can cause them problems and let our guys understand, what the first 2 games have looked like for them.
Pat, I apologize for not asking this on Tuesday night, but you said after Saturday, this hopefully was a wake-up call. Was Tuesday, did you see that as that kind of response, and what were the progressions you thought?
The response was good. We performed well. I think the disappointment, like I said after the game, was not converting some of our chances to go into the second leg with the lead, and I think the box defending needs to improve. We've discussed that as a group because that's been an area of, our defending that has led to us conceding goals. So certainly a much better performance than on the weekend, but not the result. But that's okay. I say it's okay. It's okay that, you're not always going to get the results, but seeing progress at this stage is very important. And seeing how guys respond is also very important because we did not perform well in Philly. And the guys were up for it, and, we'll be able to turn it around hopefully in a confident way with the disappointment of drawing, and then put together a performance against Toronto that continues to show the progress and consistency. If we want to be a top team, we have to be consistent in our performances, and then you'll see more consistency in results.
You mentioned that there's some changes with Toronto that you've seen from those 2 games with Robin taking over. Can it be easier for a coach with MLS experience to come in and maybe get changes faster than they want than one who has never coached in MLS before? Given the leagues?
I would think that with Robin's experience, of course, he knows this league. He knows these players. He knows Toronto. So being able to step into that environment and understand how things work and how he needs to hit the ground running to to move their group along becomes easier. So, I hate to say it's a matter of time because when you're a new coach with a new group, you have different ideas and you just don't see that always come together immediately. Sometimes it's a quicker, I would say, a quicker transition with results, but maybe you don't always see it in the performances. And results are always important for new coaches and new environments. But I'm sure there's a lot of things that Robin would like to work on and have time with his group to improve. But like I said, he's had a lot of success in this league, and will know how to motivate and prepare his group. And hopefully the the progress doesn't happen too soon because we obviously want to have a strong performance and get a result in front of our home fans.
With Luca Orjano back in the mix, obviously we saw what he did last year, but has some new pieces around him. How do you envision the attack looking with him in there? How can it look different than maybe we saw?
He'll be a focal point. I mean, it doesn't look a whole lot different as far as what we expect. It's he's got some new pieces to continue to work with and understand those relationships. Certainly with Kevin, with Evander, but not just those two. It's Lucas on the left. It's Gilberto on the left. Depending on where he's deployed on the field, it's just building the relationships. And if we're just talking specifically higher up the field, getting time with Kevin and Evander is important. Luka will continue to be a focal point of our attack, and it's nice to have him back. You see just in the limited minutes how dynamic he is, how he's able to create separation and advance with the ball just to allow the movement off the ball, to allow us to move up the field, how he comes inside on the opportunity that he creates to challenge Guzman, who makes a good save. It's all those things that he brings to the attack that, I think, for the first couple weeks we might have been missing. So having that dynamic player to help give a different look and make, the opponent think about, something different is important. And so those 30 minutes, I think, were good, a good starting point for Luka.
And then Brett Halsey wasn't in the squad
Yeah.
on Tuesday. Is there anything going on with him or any update on?
That was a coach's decision.
And then any update on Evander and how he's doing with his back?
He just took a knee to the back. It was a bone bruise. Day to day. So I don't anticipate this will be, too long as far as, his availability. The hope is that he's available for Saturday, but we'll give him as much recovery as need be. So even if he's not on the field tomorrow, there's a strong likelihood that he'll be available and playing on Saturday. We just need to manage that because these are the most minutes he's played, obviously in a short amount of time. So I think we built up his fitness in a good way, and now. With how many games we're playing, it'll be more of a focus on his recovery and building that fitness with games, which up to this point I think I've been very pleased with.
We'll go to Carter, and then we'll go to the Zoom to Alejandro.
Unfortunate timing maybe in the order in which this question is asked, but with the game being the Tigers game on Tuesday this week and then Saturday league game, you get an extra day. That's maybe not a ton, but how much are you able to get out of just even an extra day of training this week?
Well, it wasn't an extra day of training. Guys needed to recover. So we were off yesterday, which we haven't been able to do in, 3 weeks. So it just felt like this was the right time with the, accumulation of games and what these guys have, been challenged with over that 3-week period. So yesterday was a focus on not being on the field. And today we'll be on the field. You still got guys that have played a lot of minutes. Going back to the Philly game, that'll have limited work on the field, so it'll be partial training. We'll use a lot of FCC2 guys to help us with our numbers and to open up the space a little bit for guys that have been playing a lot in smaller spaces with smaller numbers over the last couple of weeks, so that'll be beneficial. And then, tomorrow will be more of a focus, obviously, on the approach that we have with Toronto. So, yeah, a good day off, I think, and a good chance to get away for players and staff.
We'll go to the Zoom now on Alejandro.
Good morning, Pat. Just with the stretch of games coming in the next 10 days, and how important for you is to have players such as Julia Kubo and Alvis Powell that are very versatile for moving into different positions?
Yeah, Depth and versatility is important because we've needed all of our bodies to help us, whether it's with game minutes or just pushing, for minutes. That competitive nature of the group's important. And even when guys aren't getting the minutes with all of these games, they need to have the right approach to push themselves, to push their teammates to have a competitive training environment and an expectation for minutes. That only helps our group. So with Alvis and Yuya specifically, I think they've given us good minutes so far this season. But we get Sergio back in the mix, Luca back in the mix. Dotto's now had a couple training sessions, which has been really nice to have him back. Nick's now a couple weeks into training and progressing in a really good way. So, these are really important pieces. Alec Khan's back in the mix, and just the experience and the leadership in trainings and with guys getting now up to speed with their fitness and game minutes. It's just gonna help our group to navigate this stretch of games, which we're already 5 into the 8 and 24 days, I believe is the number. So I'm happy with having more available bodies to select from, but I think the group's in a pretty good place in terms of the competition. But I think we're still a ways away when you talk about the fitness of the entirety of the group to really take it to another level.
Now looking into the game on Tuesday, you guys gonna have to come out and look for the win, basically. I mean, tied at 0, who you are, but it's still in your hands. It's still in the team's hands to advance to the next phase. Are we gonna we're gonna see a more aggressive team on Tuesday?
We'll talk about Tuesday on Sunday. We got a game Saturday.
Appreciate that one. But then going to Saturday, it's obviously important for the team to be strong at home. And have you relayed that message so far? Did you have success with a win and 2 ties in 2 different tournaments? But how do you relay that message to the team to stay consistent being strong at home?
Yeah, we've set certain goals this year to hit targets that are improvements from last year. We weren't good enough at home last year, and I think we all understand that. So we need to take more points from our home games, and we did that in our first regular season game. And you mentioned the 2 draws. I would say the performances were okay and good, but at least understanding that that's 180 minutes. You don't necessarily need to win those games, but we need to get more consistent with doing that. And hopefully Saturday's our second home win, and we can continue to build on our home. I don't want to say dominance because that wasn't the case 2 years ago. It was. We need to be more dominant with our home performances and results. It's a combination of both of those things. So hopefully we see that.
We'll wrap up here with Laurel.
With the MLS Next Pro season starting this weekend,
Mm-hmm.
how can that help you guys with some of these players like Nick and coming back from longer term injuries, but also knowing you have to balance rotation and needing that depth for the 2 different competitions you guys are playing in?
Each week we have I think a pretty good approach to what it's going to look like with game minutes for the first team, and then what players are going to be in contention to potentially help us with FCC2. Some of the challenges, fitness, like I mentioned, the turf, depending on who we're talking about, makes that a little bit of a different conversation. So we factor that in as well. But it's nice to have that on the back end to know that if we need to push guys minutes, we can do that. The challenging part is a quick turnaround to Tuesday and knowing that you can only push guys so long on Sunday to turn it around again for Tuesday or just being available. You eliminate some of the risk with that. But it's nice to have that season starting and have that as an option for guys to get minutes if need be.
All right, Pat, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.